Hey guys, what's up? It's Karl here, back with another one, and this episode here has taken me the longest time to complete. You can see it behind me. I've teased it in my past couple episodes. It is my new crazy desk setup. It features a massive triple monitor ultra wide setup, which gives you a total inch count of 102. Each of the monitors is 34 inches, and the main reason why it's taking me so long to come out with this video is I just did not have a desk large enough. All of the desks here in this studio are simply normal sized, and maybe that's the best place to start, seeing as it is a desk setup tour. So the exact model that I got, it's a kitchen countertop from Ikea. It's called the Ekbakken. It is a laminate countertop, but I got mine with the marble finish to make it seem a bit classy. It does come in two sizes. This is the larger version though. It's 98 inches wide, and you need all of that extra space just to house these monitors. And it was built on two extra standing desk legs that I had kicking around in the studio, simply drilled right into the laminate countertop on the bottom, and I actually used this drill. This is the Nex L1 by Fanttik, and they were the ones that challenged me to build a desk for this episode, so big shout outs to them. Typically drills are big and bulky, whereas this has a more streamlined design, super simple to use. All of the drill bits are magnetic on the front. It comes with this cool little carrying case, and they do have their own Indiegogo campaign running, so I'll leave a link below, but a cool little new tech edition hardware-wise to the studio. So once the desk was in place, we could finally put down the triple monitor setup, and even though the desk is 98 inches long, the longest desk that I've had, this monitor setup barely fits it. It kind of just squeaks by. Because they're ultra wide, they've got a resolution of 3440 by 1440, so not quite 4K, but I do prefer the aesthetic of ultra wide monitors more. The big thing for gaming, of course, that 160 Hz refresh rate, 1 mil response time. They also have NVIDIA G-Sync. And just keep in mind, if you're going for this crazy triple monitor, ultra wide setup, take into account what type of game you're gonna be playing. I predominantly play or use it for a lot of my Formula One racing games. You can see here that I've got it running behind me, and the second and third monitor gives you extra peripheral space, which is kind of unique to, say, racing games. If you're playing Call of Duty, Fall Guys, just your basic FPS games, you're probably gonna just need the one. And if you are building a similar setup, you just need to go into the NVIDIA control panel and select the span displays with surround option. And that will trick your monitors into believing all three different displays are combined as one and will stretch the image across. And once you're in game, like in Formula One, you just need to tweak the aspect ratios to make sure everything lines up. And once you've played on a setup like this, going back to one monitor just doesn't do it any justice. The gameplay is just so immersive, and if there's any other F1 fans out there, I'll leave my Steam link below. Add me up, we can race a couple laps. And if you are an F1 fan, make sure you stay posted to my next video where I have something special lined up with both Shell and Ferrari. I'll leave it at that. So that was the gaming monitors, and maybe switching now to the PC that powers this entire setup. There's actually two. The first, the main one, that's actually the first gaming PC that I ever built. That was sent to me by my good friend Matt Moniz. It's an older build. It utilizes older specs, so it's got the Ryzen 1700, a GTX 1070, and 16 gigs of RAM. And even though all those components are over a year old now, they still hold up decently well right now. I can still play F1 at its highest settings. I can still play Call of Duty 1080p at 120 FPS without any problems. And the big reason for not upgrading, I just wanted to wait to see what NVIDIA would drop, which they honestly just announced the other day, their new RTX 3080, so that should be coming, and I plan to build out a full new gaming PC with those new components. The second device which I mentioned is actually the Razer Blade 15, but every game that I've been playing on my dedicated PC, the Razer Blade 15 can also handle without any issues, plus you have the versatility of this being a laptop. This is the early 2020 model, so it's got an i7, it's got the RTX 2080, 16 gigs of RAM, and for 1080p gameplay, whether you're rocking Fortnite, Call of Duty, you can easily get over 60 frames. I could even push 90 to 100 frames on medium settings, so I honestly think this Razer Blade is my favorite gaming PC laptop out. I know that it carries a premium price tag, but it also has the build to match that. It's built like an absolute tank, the finishing is near perfect, and as I've used this more and more as my main device, I could honestly see switching from, say, my MacBook Pro to this Razer Blade 15. The thing that's kind of won me over the most from my 16-inch MacBook Pro has been the 4K display. And I know that you don't necessarily need that. It's just one of those extra premium features that I kind of now appreciate. There aren't too many other competitors. Let's now switch though to accessories and peripherals. For my racing wheel and for the driving games, I'm using the Logitech G920. I opted not to get the extra shifter. I normally do play Formula 1 games with most of the shifting kind of occurring on the paddles. I do believe this one did come out in 2020, and I'm on the fence if I should still grab the shifter. I mean, the pedal set does have the third pedal for the clutch. My biggest feedback, especially if you're playing Formula 1 games, look up on Google what the correct calibration settings are. I'll leave mine here, I just simply YouTubed it, but these are the ones that I use, and this is the proper calibration for the wheel. I was initially using the default settings, which meant I was turning the wheel way too many times and my lap times were just atrocious, but that's just my own little feedback for everyone. My second criticism, and I guess it doesn't really apply to the steering wheel / pedal combo, it's more the chair that you pick. Because I'm slamming on the brake so hard, I am just in a standard rolly chair. It isn't exactly a dedicated racing gamer chair. I find that I just move around or slide back too much, so I've actually made a makeshift weight setup. I place my 30-pound dumbbells behind the chair to kind of prevent me from moving. Super hack, but you know, it gets the job done. For first-person shooters, I'm actually still a controller person. I cannot get rid of using an Xbox controller. I'm an Xbox junkie for life. So you can see that I've got my Elite controller wired over to my PC. I use that even for games like Fall Guys. I try to stick mostly on the controller. The only type of game that I actually still use a dedicated keyboard and mouse are RTS games. I'm still a big StarCraft 2 fan. I actually grew up playing the OG StarCraft and played a ton of SC2 in school. I know you guys are gonna flack on me. This is just the Logitech MX Master 3, not a gaming mouse. That is the next upgrade on the bucket list. For my gaming headset, this was my new addition and still kind of keeping in the Logitech family. These are the Pro X's. Love them because they're fully wireless. They're super comfortable to use. I actually don't use the built-in mic. When I hop on, say, Twitch, I have a blue Yeti microphone that I actually use. And I actually just attached it to my old microphone stand that I had kicking around. Amazon Basics, I think this was a $15 setup, of course, plus the microphone. So if you do follow me on Twitch, this is the contraption that I'm talking to all of you guys through. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up my overkill desk setup. Did I go too overboard by grabbing the triple monitors, 102 inches? I think it kind of fits. I get, unless you have super deep pockets, or maybe it's just something to aspire to. So I'm super happy just to, you know, share these crazy builds with you guys. If any of you are big F1 or racing fans, happy to race a couple laps with you guys. Remember, Steam gamertag info is down below. If I forgot anything else, I'll try to leave it down below in the comments. If I had any suggestions or my own, I guess, feedback for my setup, my cable management is atrocious. It is the worst thing in this setup. Clearly my DisplayPort cables, which are crossing through the background, are way too short. I just need to get longer ones and kind of manage the cables behind the desk to make things a bit neater. So no judging on my end. I was just super eager to share this setup with you guys, so hopefully you enjoyed it. And like I mentioned, if you are a big F1 fan, stay posted for my next video. I think you'll really enjoy that. We'll catch the rest of you then, hopefully. Peace!